Welcome back, boys and girls. And guess what I have? Foxtrot AR9. The same viewer who asked me to help him with a MMP15 also had AR9. And he also asked me to help him with this. So we're gonna do a quick review and my thoughts on this handgun. We also want to talk about the red dot versus regular scope. I'm not very familiar with this type of pistol. So if I make mistakes, let me know. First, let's talk about why this is considered as a pistol. Overall length has to be 26 or less. So if I measure from end to end, it's actually 26.6 inches. But I guess it's legal to be called pistol because they're selling it like this, right? And the barrel has to be less than 16 inch. And this has 5-inch barrel. And the twist rate is 1 to 10. And it's got this huge round piece that looks like it's made to add some accessory at the end. Also for the safety of your hand. But honestly, I'm not sure what that is. Let's see how much they weigh. With the red dot scope, it's 5 pounds and 10 ounces. And if you add a magazine to it, it's 5 pounds and 15.2 ounces. So it's almost 6 pounds. And to me, it seems like this pistol was made to satisfy both of the best world, which is AR and Glock. So this accepts Glock magazine, and this comes with 30 rounds. If this is your first time seeing a pistol, you would think this is a short rifle, and this is a short butt stock. But they call this a arm brace, so it could legally be a pistol. And I did a quick research on it. It is legal to put this arm brace against your shoulder. And I tried to use this as an arm brace, and honestly, I don't see it. So let's take a look. These parts here are very painful. I mean, this thing will scratch you up pretty good. So you gotta have a pretty thick sleeves on it, first of all. And then stick your hand in there and strap it in, and you're shooting it like this. I really don't see anybody doing this unless you're making a movie. In fact, having your gun attached to your arm and it's moving as your arms are going everywhere, that could be a big safety issue. For some reason, this reminded me of Johnny Depp in Scissorhands. So you really have to train yourself well, just like the Scissorhands. And you could see all the scars on his face before he became a pro. And when he mastered it, it was safe. Man, that thing really hurts. I don't know if you could see this or not, but it scratched me up pretty good. And if you look at the action, it's actually in the front of the barrel, which I think this is very, very dangerous. It would have been better with just a regular AR, but that might have an issue with being a pistol. But honestly, I'm not sure. But having an action handle in the front, so you're working like this. You could see the chamber being open. It is empty. It's very natural for most people to hold their gun like this. And if that thing is sliding with an action, it's gonna bang your thumb up really good. So you really have to train yourself to hold it really close like this or hold the bottom of the handguard. But trust me, when you get a little excited or in a hurry, it's really easy to grab it like that. But honestly, I haven't shot this gun yet, so I'm not sure if that thing actually moves with an action or not. But we'll find out. And let's talk about the magazine. 30 rounds sounds really cool, but I really think this is a little too long because that's gonna get in the way of a lot of things. And if you shake it, it's got a lot of play on it. So I'm not sure if you knock it really hard or something, I'm not sure if that's gonna break or come loose. But when you're in a hurry or excited, a lot of things can happen. I really think if it was 20 rounds or 15 rounds and it's shorter, you'd be more idealistic. But again, it's me. The arm guard is adjustable. So it comes off like AR. That's the buffer tube. Now, one thing you have to be careful is that when you have your hammer cocked like this, you have to be extra cautious not to pull the trigger without holding the hammer. Otherwise, the hammer could crack the case here. So if you're gonna release it, you have to hold the hammer, pull the trigger, and let it off gently. Now let's check the trigger. It is empty. Here we go. Trigger is actually not bad. It feels like 5 to 5.5 pounds. It's got a little bit of pre-travel. For 9mm, I think red dot is a good idea. Now I did look through this red dot scope and the dot is nice and small, so I like that. Now one thing that I have problem with is that the power on and off indicator is in the front instead of being a back. Now that means if I want to make sure that it is off, I have to look from the barrel side. It would have been so much convenient if you could see it from this side. Okay, I need to make one correction here. The owner of this pistol had the red dot installed the other way around. And I naturally thought he mounted the right way. And looking down at it, I did see the red dot. So you can actually turn it on from this side, which makes perfect sense. As for the price, he paid $700 for the pistol and $37 for the red dot. Now let's talk about the red dot. Red dot has become very popular in the military and a lot of civilian shooters. But as we know, this is not really made for long-range precision shooting. This is more for like within 50 yards because that red dot gets pretty big. And if you're shooting out 100 yards or beyond, that dot can be bigger than the target itself. So what's the advantage of red dot? In my opinion, you could shoot it with two eyes open. Now regular scope, when it's magnified, you have different size of object. So it gets very confusing and it's really hard to run and shoot. And the regular scope, you have to have a straight line of sight and you have to adjust your distance from the scope to get the full clear vision. So if you're in a hurry, trying to hide yourself and come back out and shoot, it's really hard to find something on a regular scope. But the red dot does not require you to have the straight line of sight. You could see the red dot from the most any angle. As long as the red dot is at the target, you could pull the trigger. And with the red dot, you could literally shoot as you're running because you could have both eyes open and just have the red dot on the target. But with a regular scope, that's really difficult. Now the red dot is not to replace the regular scope. In fact, this is to replace the open sight. For example, even with open sight, you have to have your line of sight and have your cheek tucked down really tight. So you automatically have to close one eye and then find the target. So it's really difficult to run and try to find the target. As you know, in the past, every foot soldiers had an open sight and only the snipers had a scope on. But now every foot soldiers have a red dot scope on and the sniper still has a high power scope. At first I was very excited about the AR9 and I thought this was the best of the both worlds between rifle and handgun. But more I think about it, it might be the worst of the both worlds. So let's talk about it. Most states have tougher restrictions on purchasing a handgun versus rifle. In Virginia, we are allowed to buy 2 handguns within 30 days, whereas rifle that doesn't apply. And many states have waiting period after the background check purchasing a handgun. So if this was just a little bit longer, it would have passed as a rifle and it would be easier to purchase. I believe every gun has its main purpose. And as for the rifle, as you know, that's for shooting accurately at a distance. So you see a lot of security people having this kind of rifle for the security reason, or even in the military outside where it might require shooting longer distance. But indoor, you see people only carrying a handgun because shooting distance indoor is a lot closer and this is less threatening and you could have both hands free. Even for a home defense, if you're at a situation where you have to protect yourself, this would be a lot easier to grab and you could actually have one hand free to hold the light or open the doors or even hold a cell phone and call the police or do whatever you need to do. But whereas this handgun, in a home defense situation, is way too heavy to hold it with one hand. So you don't have that free hands to do whatever you need to do. And this is not really convenient to have it in your drawer, close to your bed, where you need a quick access to it. No, even with an arm guard folded in all the way, it won't fit. So with AR9, we don't have the convenience of a handgun or the accuracy of a rifle. So I'm a little confused, but it looks really cool. Okay, playing with this for a little bit, I noticed that charging handle probably will not move with action when you're firing it, because if you open the chamber and push this button right here and let it hold, and you can see the chamber is open. And this one here will move freely. And this is springless, so it will most likely stay in the front. I'm hoping this will not move with an action, so it's safe to hold it here. But just to be extra careful, I'm going to put a piece of tape here before I hold here and fire it and see if the tape has been taken off or not. Then I know it's safe or not. If you give a regular handgun to someone to shoot it, they will automatically hold it like this, which basically is pretty safe. Now, but if you give this gun and have them try to shoot it, automatically they're going to use this on their shoulder and have their hands here. Because this has such a short barrel, if you have your finger in front of barrel somewhere, you're gonna lose a finger. I could tell you, people who knows me pretty well, they know that I'm not against any gun. I just have some concerns for newcomers. So if you're thinking about AR9, you really should practice with an empty gun, how to hold and how to handle, and just let it become your second nature. In fact, I'm gonna familiar myself with this handgun a lot before I hit the range. My recommendation, just looking at the AR9, if you wanna shoot safely, always hold right by the magazine case and use the arm guard on your shoulder. And hold it like this. This way, you'll be out of harm's way. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not against AR9. I'm just pointing out things that I think can be dangerous. And I really think when it comes to guns, safety is number one. But I'm still really excited about taking this out to the range and see how it shoots. Who knows, after shooting it, I might fall in love with it. And lastly, like always, thank God for what you have. Enjoy your life with what you got. But mostly, when it comes to guns, safety is always number one. See you.